to Squatch and Holler. Please like and subscribe.
And hit that bell.
Hey everybody, hold on a second. I got Peyton wanting to FaceTime me right as I'm going live, y'all. So we were just over there with Mark and Becca. Hey, you're on speakerphone and I'm on live actually. You want to say hi to everybody?
Well, I was actually showing my man cave. I got it kind of.
He's working on his man cave, y'all. All right, well, I gotta go. All right, that's cool. I'll talk to you in a little bit. Or you can come on live if you want to.
I can for a second.
All right, I'll send you a link. All right, bye. So unprofessional, y'all, ain't we? Hang it up. I don't know how to hang this thing up. Hey, y'all. So that was. I come in late with Mark and Becca's show, and always fun to listen to them. Hold on just a second, y'all. This might be a short one, but I'm gonna send him a link. He wants to show his man cave. He's getting his man cave ready so he can go live with me. They've been working hard over there. Just forgive me just for a second here. Man, it's slow. All right, there he is. All right. Copy and paste. Man, things are so much easier nowadays. All right, I'm almost ready. Okay, I just sent that to him. Abby, I took a picture of the snow out front. Send it to Greg so he can show you. And dadgum, it's snowing again, but it's not. It's not bad. It's just snowing. Oh, and if this is unplanned, and of course, y'all, that show last night on Beast TV. I'm new to all this and meeting everybody, and me and Peyton have been welcomed in, and it's been great. And I've heard I hear names, I hear people that they had known, people known in the past, and that show was great last night. So now I kind of know not only who they were talking about, but what he meant to them. So that was really. I sent the group text. I didn't shave, y'all. I sent a group text when Greg got a little emotional. I teared up. Man, I was I was mad about it, but I wasn't. But anyway, so we'll see if Peyton comes on here. While I've got y'all on, and there'll be more people that'll see this later. Yes, Abby, they do think I'm crazy, and here's why. Because I've been going outside for years and talking to my buddy Don, and we have some of the wildest conversations. But it's led up to this. Hey, TKB, Tennessee, Kentucky, Bigfoot. So this, when I started this, I said I'll never ask anybody for anything, but if you want to support Beast TV, Woodwalkers, and all of those people and me, and I know this is aggravating, but I'm just going to explain to you how it works. If there's a 15-second or 30-second ad like if you go back and watch later, then if you watch 14 seconds of that 15 seconds and hit skip, the channel don't get anything for that, and it's about like 10 cents or something. So but that makes a difference. If 50 people do that, that's $5. But um, I always said I would be open and honest up front with everybody, and so that's how it works. So like right now, it's aggravating too. Like during a live, um, I had like 7 or 8 of them the other night watching. I was so into the story, I was skipping them. But if I go back and watch it, and I know I'm not gonna miss anything, I'll go ahead and let it run. But yeah, this just no big deal. I just every little bit helps. Let's see. All right, let's add Peyton. What's going on?
I just finished up some of the man cave, cleaning it anyway, getting some of the old stuff out and new stuff in.
That was pretty cool. Those lights. You got them. Can you turn the light out and show what is it? Where'd you get that?
I got it from. Hold on, let me see. How do you do the? There it is. Nope. Things. Hold on a minute.
Yeah, I haven't got to see Peyton, and I've been stuck in. I stayed in the first couple of days, and then I got stuck in. That's cool. That's pretty sweet. So are some of those mine on that wall?
Them two.
And y'all, we we people thought, why do y'all have them mounted? I'm like, well, you got the money to get them mounted, but we've got them, in case we need to. But there's several more too,
Yeah, they're all
scattered around.
still got to put them up.
Yeah, we got is the one you got the biggest one you got? It's not on the wall, is it?
No, hold on a second.
People like baby deer. I know, right?
I mean, they're probably baby deer to
Michigan and Alberta. So Peyton, Mark, I was watching their show earlier. Mark and Becca. Get it right, Becca. So I wrote it down. It's in the other room. I was watching in the living room, and they had ghost stories from like Tennessee, Alabama, and they had yeah, he called me freaking out over that one, y'all. That was, but I'm gonna commend him. Peyton does it right. We don't have 4-wheelers, and when we go hunting, we put the time and the walking and everything in, and the only bad thing is, and this is what makes it makes you more. He said the other night more choosy is because you have to drag it out so far. But anyway, Wanda, you gonna get in trouble. You gonna get Greg's gonna be mad, y'all.
But I figured I'd probably put like a chair somewhere right here so you could. I don't know if
See the background. Yeah, that'd be cool. You got a desk or something? You just gonna use your phone?
kinda.
Yeah. Well, I've got. As we get into it, I'll get you some stuff. But yeah, the phone works great. Um, Peyton, all right, y'all. um, there's a house down here. We're kind of doing a little bit of ghost stories tonight. I don't know how many we'll tell, and I want to go back to Chapel Hill Light. I'll tape another version of it, and keep so people can search that later. Because I know people from all over search that. But you remember that girl that you knew in high school, and that house that they lived in right here on Cornersville Highway?
Yeah.
Creepy looking house. And y'all, it's a beautiful house. When you see something that's built 120, 30 years ago and it was fancy then, and it has all the intricate work around the porch and all the cutouts and the windows and the insets and little, not dog houses, but almost like octagonish shaped, almost like a castle almost, but it's, just regular wood. 13 Ghosts of Tennessee. Okay. But so there's a story in that 13 Ghosts of Tennessee talks about a ghost dog. So we're gonna get that one, look it up. Y'all, I know Patrick. We know we're not thin skinned. He said he was just kidding, Peyton. He said nice books.
I didn't even see it. What did he say?
Yeah, no, he was just picking like small books or whatever, little babies.
I mean, there's some in here that are
Yeah,
small.
but yeah, we hey, y'all can joke with us. This is like our version right now. It's too cold, but sitting around the fire and talking. So
You're talking about the one earlier. You're talking about Ghost, where she was hearing the chip bag rattle at night.
yeah, she had
It
a
was
name for the
in
ghost.
there
Yeah,
under her bed,
yeah.
and
What did she call the ghost?
Chip.
Mr. Chips.
Yeah, but then they got somebody pulled out one of them Ouija board things.
Ouija board. Time to get out of there when that
I
happens.
would say it, and it actually like somebody said, "What is your name?" and it said Eben, Eben, and she looked it up, and that means stone in Latin. And there was
Yeah,
like a big stone where they tied slaves up to with the shackles and stuff out in the front
I
yard.
remember that. That
Yeah.
that was a plantation house, wasn't it?
Yep.
I forgot about that. And y'all, they went and cleaned up, and apparently there was a huge stone out back that had as bad as this is, it was stuff like that happened, and it was horrible. But they had
There's also she said that there was
spikes
also
in it.
she said there's also a somewhere in the house there's like a door, a cellar door in the floor.
It's in the
But
kitchen, wasn't
no, she don't know. That's what they built over it when they put the new floors in. So there's not a door anymore, but there was. And there was
it? They
like
never
concrete rooms in the basement and stuff.
got to go in there, did
They never saw it, but they just know from past owners and the history of the house and stuff.
they? Y'all, there there's a lot. I mean, if you think about it, some of this history wasn't too long ago. When I worked, I tried after our store shut down. I tried real estate for a while. It didn't work. Um, Needless to say. So, but I did learn some things. I went to all over the southern middle Tennessee. But this lady, though she was a young lady, worked with me. Her family had money, and she'd been in real estate a while. And she was in the Spring Hill area, and that was when um, the houses started selling in one day. When um, it just the market just took off over there, and she had made enough money. She bought an old house, like 3 stories, I think. And the reason she got it was the history. They used it as, now get this. This is a big note from me. When she told me, I was like, I don't know if I want you to finish this story about this house. But when she bought it, she knew that it was used as a hospital, a makeshift hospital during the Civil War. And the people passed away, and there was one window up top where they had all the history of the house. There was bloodstains still in the wood floor in some places, and there was one window where it was amputation room, and they tossed them out the window. Other people came and picked them up. So, but she said one of the cool things was there was a story where a Union officer came busting up in the house with the big doors, came busting up in the house riding his horse, and she said it still had the scuff marks on the floor where the horse slid to a stop. And she was talking about living there with her fiance and how just creepy it was. I mean, she loved it, but stuff happening, sounds, but like Peyton heard at where he works, the boots, people walking, nobody there, and all that. And yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, like when people get to telling you stories, and you're like, you're like, I don't know if I want you to finish this, you know. Um, but Peyton, one thing that y'all won't ever get to see because they made it illegal to go up there was the Chapel Hill Light. Um, and I was going to tell them about that. But we've told ghost stories, but when we first started the channel, but they're very deep. into the and when we first started, and some of those videos may not exist because they were so junky. I didn't know what I was doing like I do now, and I really don't now. But tell them about walk them through that story. You know, because Peyton's mom and stepdad's house has some things going on, right? Like orbs and stuff. Or is that your mama's house?
Both. Not Mama's not with orbs, but like Mama's. Me and Mama were sitting on the couch one day watching TV, and you can see the living room from the couch. And I just happened to look up, and I can't remember if it was like a water bottle or a remote or what it was, but it looked like you took and like smacked it off the counter. It didn't fall off the counter. It flew into the middle of the floor. Me and Mama both looked at each other and was like, "What was that?"
What
And
wasn't it Tim's phone carrier?
yep, it was that actually.
Yep. Sitting
It
on
was
the
an old phone carrier like you had with them flip phones or whatever.
yeah.
Clip
now
onto
did
your pocket.
now didn't something draw your attention that way? Was it the dog first?
Well, no, there was this. When my uncle passed away, Mama would watch the the little picture video they give you at the funeral home.
Yeah.
She would watch it, and every time she would start crying, it would start glitching up and stop. And it was a brand new CD, brand new DVD player. And there was one time where I don't know if this was at the same time or not. It's been 15 years ago, I think, almost. We were on the couch, and one of the dogs, at the time it was only Gracie, I'm pretty sure. She looked up and looked like she was following something from, where like that bathroom in the middle of the living room is to my
Yeah.
room. And when she went and like looked at my room, I looked up above and just noticed it. And the fire alarm was like that light and the fire alarm was flashing really, really like a lot of times in a row. And then it stopped after like 2 or 3 minutes, and it never done that again, and it never did it before. So
Think
I
maybe
don't think I do that, huh?
some kind of energy might have.
Yeah, and then I mean, there was a time that me and Kinsey heard the. This is crazy. We were in the living room. This was a year ago, almost a year ago to today. Um, we were in the kitchen, and of course, there's a wall between the kitchen and the living room, but there's a big doorway. And me and Kinsey heard a baby crying, and we were like, "Oh, is the niece in there or whatever?"
Yeah.
So we went in there and we were like, "Do y'all have the baby?" My sister's baby, for everyone who doesn't know. And Mama was like, "No, they're in Franklin." I'm like, "We just heard a baby crying." Me and Kinsey both, and they were watching. I remember it was Sanford and Son. It was the episode where they were in court, and somebody had just made a funny joke or whatever, and the background crowd started laughing, and I rewound it to like 30 seconds, and we nowhere near heard anything else that sounded like a baby crying.
Yeah.
And we heard that, and then it wasn't a month or two later, we were all in the living room, and every one of us heard a baby crying, and the baby was in Keely's arms in front of me on the couch. And I'm like standing up over her, kind of leaned on the back of the couch, looking down at her and the baby and talking to everybody. And this sounded like it was outside on the front porch. Just that, no, it wasn't. It was a baby crying, like that wah 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 noise they make. Like it was. It
Yeah.
wasn't a cat. It wasn't a dog. All the dogs were in the house with us. So,
And that's a good point too, because like when things happen, I have one time I was staying.
oh, and then everybody was like, I was like, y'all heard that, right? They were like, yeah, that sounded like a baby crying. I was like, yes, that's what we heard the other day, and y'all tried to tell us, oh, it's probably the cat.
Have you heard
Or,
it since?
nope,
Well,
no, I haven't.
um, I remember staying by myself when I was younger, and one time I thought somebody was knocking on the door, and it scared me because we were up at Nana and Granddaddy's on that ridge, and I grabbed a something and went around there and was looking, and I couldn't. It was French doors, glass, and I couldn't see everything on the porch there, and it started doing it again like that. Oh, honey, will go crazy. I didn't shouldn't have done that, but I did that. Oh, it did that, and I'm looking right out there, and I couldn't see anything, so I'm freaking out a little bit, and we're getting into misidentification. You remember Chew, the chow that we had? He was solid black. He was scratching fleas or something, and his paw was hitting that deck, and I couldn't see him. So,
Mac does that all the time. He'll be in the. I'll be taking a shower and he'll be in the living room and he'll go to scratch his ear and his foot will hit the ground and it sounds just like doo 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 like somebody beating on the door.
yeah, so you can, is he in there?
No, he's in the living room.
Okay, we'll maybe show him one day. He's a pretty, he's a red German Shepherd and has no tail.
We are actually. I was calling you to tell you this. We're actually getting another one this weekend.
Oh Lord,
She's a female, 56 pounds, I think, 1 years old. 1 year old. She's like the traditional looking one, but the same lady who had Mac sent us or just posted it online. And Kinsey asked me, and I'm like, I don't know. But then I just uh, I just bought another kennel because it was cheap, and I mean, so I was like, whatever. I guess we'll get it. We'll try out, see what happens. But
well,
the lady
I
we
know
got it from said she's really smart, really good with people, kids, other dogs, and
well, good.
ours are like
Well,
that too. So.
she was right about Max, so he's a good one. He's
Yeah, that's why.
military trained or whatever, but he's too
Well,
nice.
he was gonna be a police dog, but he couldn't. He did everything except for he had separation anxiety. You're supposed to be able to leave them in a room for 9, 10 minutes, however long it is, or until you tell him to come. And I can tell him to sit or lay or whatever, and he'll lay there until I leave. And as soon as he can't see me, he's coming. So he
Yeah.
couldn't complete. That's the only thing he couldn't do. But he's a good one.
Well, so I'm gonna get to the story that we were on Mark and Becca's show, and they were talking about the Tennessee ghost stories. Well, there's several in this county, Marshall County, Tennessee, but one of the most famous ones, and I've got a funny story that I've told before, having to deal with this, but this particular story, we had been up there, and when I was in high school, I had had a few things happen, paranormal stuff like that. I'd seen the Bigfoot, I'd seen UFO, and I was scared of stuff. I mean, I was just literally because I had that reoccurring dream in that haunted house and other stuff had happened. So when people started talking about ghost stories, I would, you know, my skin would crawl. I didn't want any part of it. Well, one night, um, somebody invited me up to go to Chapel Hill Light, but I was driving. I said, I'll go if I drive. I'm not driving up there or riding up there and being, stuck in somebody else's vehicle. If I want to leave, I'm going to leave. And so we got up there. The conditions were right, and we stayed there for hours. We didn't see anything at all, nothing. So we left, and I'm like, yeah, they're full of it. These people, this story's been going on for decades, and they're full of it. And the story that's made up is supposedly this hobo was walking down the tracks and had his lantern, got decapitated by the train, and the Chapel Hill Light is supposed to be. You can look it up on YouTube. There's several things, but most of them are BS because I'll tell you why in a minute. Um, he was supposed to be looking for his head. It's a good ghost story, good Halloween or whatever. And so after that first trip, I'm like, okay, it's one of those BS stories that people tell, you know, or whatever. But the guy that had went with us the first time was like, no, I've seen it. And I'm like, well, I didn't not believe him. I just didn't think much about it. So one night, I don't know why we did it. One of my buddies, he had an old, like a 76, 77 sky blue short wheelbase Chevrolet. And I was sitting in the truck. My best friend was in the middle and regular cab truck. He said, "Hey, let's run up to Chapel Hill and see if we can see that light." I'm like, I don't know, because I just still was creeped out about it. So we got up there, and I said, "Do not pull up on the tracks," because a guy had gotten killed. Well, I think maybe more than one has gotten killed like that, getting hit by a train or whatever. And so, anyway, to get to the meat of the story, I'm on the passenger side, and we don't know which way it's supposed to come. We don't know if it flies down out of the sky. We have no idea. And it's pitch dark, but probably to the right, looking down the tracks, I mean, a good mile or better, there was a crossing down there, and we could see every now and then a car cross, and you could see the headlight, tail lights. It was headed the same direction we were headed, so you could see it come across, and that was it. You knew what it was, easy to identify. So I don't remember how long it was into it. It wasn't very long, but I'm sitting there. I'm starting to get bored. I go from being scared to getting bored, and then I get to thinking, well, what if somebody slips up on us and tries to mess with us? And that kind of scared me a little bit. Well, then all of a sudden, to the right, I'm looking down the tracks, but in the woods over at I'm gonna say 4 o'clock, between 4 and 5 o'clock, there was a light. And at first, I thought it was a flashlight because it was deep in the woods. Now, there was some bushes and stuff on the ground, and this place hadn't been taken care of, but there were some big hardwoods and smaller ones and everything. Well, as this light, it was very quick. It got big very quick. It ended up
Hey,
being
I'm gonna hop off here because we got some people buying stuff off buy sell trade, and some people just pulled up. So sorry to come in.
all right. That's all right. That's all right, P. Willie.
All right,
You
see
come
y'all.
on sometime. All right. See you. Thank you.
Yep.
I'll see you tomorrow. All right, y'all. So we got that distraction out of the way. No, I'm kidding. So anyway, the light ended up being about the size of a beach ball, maybe bigger. And it was an orb. It was a true orb. It was round. Now, y'all, think about this. I never would have thought about this if I hadn't seen it. If you've got an orb sitting in the middle of the woods, dark woods, and it's a electric blue white, like a have you ever seen a transformer blow up, an arc, whatever? We had seen that a year before. That's why I didn't panic, because it was that same color, whitish blue, electric. Well, we're elevated. The tracks here, we're sitting like this, not on the tracks, but it came down and came up like that and went over and down. So this light is down in this dip of woods there, and think about something round emitting light in every direction, down, sideways, different angle, every which way. It's emitting light from every which way. Okay. Now, if that light moves an inch, think about your shadows of your trees. If it moves an inch, they move, right? This thing was coming so fast, it was like it was bouncing, and these shadows, y'all, were like they were dancing and slamming into each other, and it was the wildest thing I've ever seen. As far as the I can't. That's the best way I can describe it. Now, if it moves an inch, all these shadows change. But if it's moving at the speed it's moving, it was fast. It was almost like I don't even know. I can't explain it. But I hope y'all get what I'm saying. Um, but as it came along, it got into the opening where they keep the tracks clear on the sides. It broke out into the open. Well, that that contour of the land went up to the tracks. This thing was just a few feet off the ground, not far, and it comes in and it follows the contour of the land, and it goes up on the tracks. Fast. It's very fast, y'all, and no sound at all. No sound whatsoever. And when it, all right, let's have. Let me see here. Or let's just say these are the tracks and they're crooked, but when it got in between those tracks, just a few feet above, it stopped, and it's like it wanted to keep going, but it was pulled back to the center of those tracks, and it warbled like something magnetic, like it had a positive, negative, and it got to doing like that. Have you ever seen anything that'll stabilize? It did that, and then it just slowly stabilized, and it got dead still. And when it got dead still, the guys were freaking out a little bit. Tony, he wasn't a little. He was like, "Oh my god!" But that was big for him. He ended up being a Marine and going, doing a lot of stuff. But he never panicked. But I didn't panic because it looked like the ball lightning transformer, whatever I had seen. When it stabilized, it was probably, it could have been about 50, 60 yards from us, probably. And so as it stabilized, the light, there's nothing to throw shadows, but it's throwing light. So the tracks that were not coming to us, but we could see those tracks right there. There was light reflecting or shining and reflecting off of that smooth surface there. Then when it started moving, it was smooth as you could ever imagine. It was smooth as the UFO I saw. It starts gliding slowly towards us. And then I'm like, y'all might ought to back up and start this truck. Because I didn't know this big ball of energy, what it would do if it touched the metal of this truck. And we're, these old trucks, it was all metal. I'm looking around, I get my feet, and it's coming to us. I'm, John, start the truck now. And that's why I didn't like being there with somebody else, because you don't have any control. Now, if I jump out and get away from the tracks, he might leave me. And here I'm out here with this thing. I'm not scared. I'm just concerned because it looks like a ton of energy. Okay. It comes to us. I don't think it cut the distance in half, but it was close. And when it got to that point, slowly coming down the tracks, not touching the tracks, it's like that same force that drew it to the tracks, drew it back down into the woods. It ripped off of the tracks, went the same way it come from, but maybe 20, 30 yards closer to us. Went down the contour of the land at speeds that was unreal. Went in. Now here, the trees weren't as thick, but there was some undergrowth and stuff like that. It went right through it. And it was warbling a little bit, but it got through that section faster than it come through the other. I think those trees were causing it to have, or maybe it was bouncing off of them. I don't know, or it was pushing and pulling away from them, or whatever. But it went out of sight. So the Tennessee, I almost said plumb out of sight. I think some of y'all would have known what I was talking about. But we sat there stunned. No video camera. We took the time before. I took a big Curtis Mathis VHS video recorder that was bigger than this desk, and we ran that thing and just sat there and ran it and never had any experience. Nothing popped up. Well, we go up there without it, and we're talking about this was around 1989. We were still. I don't think we graduated yet. We graduated in '89. Maybe it was our junior year. Probably. That sounds about right. But the conversation back home, on the way back home, because we lived in the south end of the county, Chapel Hill's in the north end, right along the Duck River, where we've seen the orbs at this other land lately. All those rocks, all of those different types of outcroppings of rocks, Not much topsoil. Chapel Hill's like that. A lot of those woods are cedar thickets, and you'll have some hardwoods, but they'll get a certain height. They'll get a certain age, and because it's so rocky and the topsoil is not as deep, in some places not at all, those trees will last a few years, and they'll get up, pretty good size, and then you see the trees blown over, and the root balls, like if y'all see where it rains for 3 or 4 days, and the root ball it gets weak, and then strong wind comes, blows it over. It's kind of a deep whatever. These roots spread out further and flatter under the dirt that it can find, and when they fall over, the root ball is really flat and it's monstrous. So these I don't like to go in the woods up there when it's been raining and the wind's blowing. So, Greg, the thing with the orbs so far haven't scared me. Now, when I say the orbs, I saw that one, which was for sure an orb. The one that me and Heather saw was it March? The leaves weren't on the trees yet. So February or March, maybe February of last year, we saw the one for 20 minutes and changed views. And I was told those are orbs. I did a little research on orbs last night. And I watched, y'all, I know I'm all over the place. But I'm trying to, TKB, you got family in Chapel Hill. So I know you've heard of the Chapel Hill light. It's a big deal. So y'all know I say this all the time. I started this to learn, and I'm not a scholar by any means. And Don Odom, like, you need to look at this, you need to look at that, and I'll tell him I'm not ready. I'm not ready. I'm just not ready. I saw half of a documentary yesterday. It was about light, and when we talk about orbs and colors and things maybe cloaking and stuff like that, and I went in and I started looking about metamaterial. So listen to this. A metamaterial, which exists, tells the Greek and Latin and all that, is any material engineered to have a property that is rarely observed in naturally occurring materials. They are made from assemblies of multiple elements, such composite materials such as metals and plastic and blah blah blah. Now listen, I'm getting to a point here. This struck me. The precise shape, geometry, size, and orientation and arrangement gives them their smart properties, capable of manipulating electromagnetic waves by blocking, absorbing, enhancing, or bending waves to achieve benefits that go beyond what's possible with conventional materials. Okay, it's a little different, but on this show last night, or this documentary, I'll finish later. They were showing this reason I'm bringing this up. This happens in nature. I did not know this. Some of y'all may know. There's a butterfly, for instance, that we look at it. All of us look at it that can see color, and it's green. But the problem is it has no pigment whatsoever in this butterfly. But when we look at it, we see it as green. What got me was, and this ties into Bigfoot and cloaking and whatever later. It drove me crazy for a while, but I may be way off. But the fact that this takes place in nature naturally, how it achieves this is, and this blew my mind. How it achieves this is there are patterns on this butterfly. And we know that color is it's a wavelength, just like sound and all that, right? Depending on how far apart they are, what color it shows up or whatever. If I'm butchering this, y'all bear with me, I'm an idiot. But this particular butterfly has a pattern on it that is is exactly the width of the green color wavelength. So the green color wavelength peaks is hitting or is hitting this pattern on this butterfly. And it's placed exactly all over this butterfly, pretty much, that width. So this thing appears green to us with no pigment because of the wavelengths and the pattern that's on this butterfly. Well, that's going back to this metamaterial that they're now being able to cloak and bend light and all that. Well, so I called Don. I'm like, Don, I know you went to college. His IQ's out the roof. Y'all just don't know the conversations. My brain fills up, and I tell him, look, I'm not going to talk to you for a week because I'm hurting. So I asked him, it was driving me crazy. I said, Don, you know about all this? He said, well, yeah, a little bit about that. And he started telling me other things. Well, let me ask you. This occurs in nature. Okay? It's perfect. What if some animal or something, either with its fiber optic type hair, let's say, what if there's something in nature that can change its, now I don't know if a chameleon does it like this or not. I haven't looked that up yet. But if something could change its pattern to fit a pattern of ultraviolet light wherever past ultra, all that we can't see with our eyes, then what would it look like to us? And he said it would be invisible. That's right. And this is my aha moment. There may be people that's already talked about this, but what I like to do is when I hear something that triggers something, I like to cut it off and try to figure it out myself. It's just an exercise I do. And a lot of times I don't come up with anything. That's why I ask questions. But so if this pattern could only reflect some of ultraviolet or beyond that we can't see, then it would look invisible. It would be standing right there in front of us, but we couldn't see it. Now, go back to the story that Kumbo told a few weeks ago, where his buddy, it was one of the shows I was watching. They had a light. They had either FLIR, thermal, I don't know, some kind of device that could see different light waves. They're picking it up on thermal, let's say. It's right there in front of them. It's close. They throw the, let's say, 2 million candle watt spotlight on them. There's nothing there. Turn it off. It's there. It's on the thing. Now, if it's invisible to our eyes, but it would still show up on the what is it they call those, spectrographs or whatever, reads wavelengths. Now that's just, see, that I may be totally off. And TKB, yeah, you're right. And the thing is, Don has been trying to tell me that some of this stuff for years, but it wasn't about Bigfoot. It was about other stuff. But it's starting to tie together. And I've got other I'm probably boring y'all, but I was flipping out last night. I don't want to bore you too much. Okay. So talking about the metamaterials, this is man-made. Okay. The photonic metamaterials interact with optical frequencies, mid-infrared. The sub-wavelength period distinguishes them from photonic gap band structures. So when it changes its structure, it reflects different light, right? So tunable metamaterials allow arbitrary adjustments. This is man-made, but what if something could naturally make adjustments, right? And I'm sounding crazy, but that's okay. A tunable metamaterial expands beyond the bandwidth limitations in left-handed materials by constructing various types of metamaterials. So this is even talking about, this is how they cloak. This is how this cloaking material is made. So where did they come up with this? Is it something from nature? Because who knows, right? Let me read this, y'all. So, good point. I've heard this theory before. Maybe the Bigfoot hollow hair absorbs the light. Makes a lot of sense to me. We catch a lot of Bigfoot faces and brush no visible body. Now that probably the pigment or lack thereof. So this is where I had to stop myself because I got a headache. I can only go so far, and then I have to throw it down and get away from it. Right? I've not watched the rest of this. It's like a 54-minute. I'll get the title to it. It's something of light. The limit. It's the limit of light. It's on Prime, and it was it's from 2011. Let me type that in. Oh, what did I do? Hold on. Did I just kill the show? No. And I'm not going to do caps. The limit of light. That's on Prime. So now we've asked these questions to guests and stuff, and with the sounds, we know there's certain sounds we can't hear. Now, this is why I enjoy talking to y'all and the channels that have welcomed me in, because I have questions. People reject. So let's say TKB. All right. So if you say that, and there's a researcher, and they're flesh and blood only, right? They're like, TKB's crazy. But we have humans making metamaterial in patterns like it's on that butterfly, because the butterfly reflects a certain light. That's natural. Now I'm Christian. I wholeheartedly believe in God. I think nothing's by accident, right? When this started coming together in my head, yet last night I was so excited, I was writing stuff down, because we just jumped from, or I did, and I may be totally wrong, but we just jumped from woo to what we have said before. It could be something extraordinary that something can do. So it is physically possible in nature. Now, this is created by God, I believe. Whatever you believe with the Creator. This was created. Now, was it created just to be that way, or was it a clue? That's what I think sometimes. Like, there are clues in nature that can lead you to God if it's all around you. And I don't want to make this, I understand people have different religions, they have different, and that's okay. I don't reject people, because I love everybody, and we can all get along, right? So, but the aha moment last night, and I was flipping out, and I was trying to call Don. He didn't answer. It's probably a good thing, because he probably wouldn't have understood me, because I've been talking so fast. But with that luck, now I'll tell you how that happened. I was listening to somebody's podcast on YouTube. I don't know whose it was, because I listened to a few yesterday, or watched them live. And Heather was watching the TV, so I put these in. I'll stand there with her, and I'll put these in where I won't disturb her. Every now and then, glance up at the TV. I glanced up at the TV. She's scrolling the menu over, and I saw it as it left. I was like, "Hold up, what did that just say?" Came back, and it said, what did I say it was? The the limit of light. And it had a little description or whatever. I said, check that out for a second. And so it started out talking about Da Vinci, Sir Isaac Newton, then on to the guy that discovered the X-ray with the light. But these guys were real important for understanding how this works. It's all part of this puzzle, right? Shut up, Blazer. I don't want to get too deep. Yeah, but look, we were watching a show yesterday, and I'm not going to call anybody out because I don't do that, and it's not a bad thing. But we all have our ideas, and so people talking absolutes. And if you know for sure, I mean, if you're having dinner with Bigfoot out in the woods, you know more than I do. If you're having conversations with them, you know more than I do. I'm not going to down anybody for that. I don't know what your story is. I don't know what your experience is. So I don't have an opinion because I don't know. I can listen and whatever, and then file that away for later because it may come up. It may come up. It's very important. So a person was saying they are not this, they are not that, they are this, they are okay. That's cool. But I'm keeping an open mind, and here's the way I look at it. Greg has had, if he's still in here, he's had yeah, I know. And that's natural too, right? So Greg's had his experiences. I've had my one sighting, and then the other experiences that's included several things that I can't explain. Tennessee, Kentucky Bigfoot probably, had different experiences. All of us have. It depends on what's happened to us, is what we believe. So let's say Patrick Noble runs up on a family of Bigfoot, and they've made some wine out of some hedge apples or something, and they're all drunked up, and they kidnap Patrick for a couple weeks. He comes back with this amazing story, and they're all flesh and blood. They're just missing link monkeys, having fun, and they let him go. He comes back and he tells us this story, and we're like, "What the heck, Patrick? Where you been?" And then we have somebody in the Pacific Northwest, or maybe the next state over, with their experience, their perception of their experience, sees a Bigfoot step out of a UFO. Their opinion is going to be they're alien, or they're working with the aliens, or they're leading the aliens. Then we have a guy up at the LBL, sees Bigfoot, and he's sicking dog men on people. I wasn't there. I don't know what happened. If I was standing there beside this person, what would my recollection of this be? Would I be panicking, not seeing details, scared, peeing my pants? And a stronger person beside me be taking everything in and protecting everybody? They're going to have a different recollection of what happened. So what if there are several different types of these things for whatever reason? So Terry, I agree. I'm getting a headache now. The truth, I'm drinking this water. I took 3 baby aspirins earlier. So I love these conversations about what we can see and can't see, here and not here, and such. That so many possibilities. I'm getting a headache trying to wrap my head around all this right now too. I'm fixing to add a little more to it. So when I get into one of these frenzies and my head starts hurting, I start making notes. And Gene, you're right. You're absolutely right. Because those booger howls that me and my son caught on audio, uh, Mark Newbill put them on the spectrograph, whatever. Uh, we heard two of them. We didn't hear the other two. There was four. And right then, I started saying, "Oh crap! What do we not hear? Check this out. What if everyone's perception is different because their reality is different? All of us in different dimensions, but can interact. Sounds out there, don't it? But when we start talking about this light and what we can see and what we can't see, so I read where, um, well, it started on this documentary last night about the new digital cameras. Uh-oh. And oh my goodness, they started talking about what they can do, what they can't do, and I've got to dig deeper into that because we take pictures. I've taken pictures. I've taken video with digital camera and didn't see something that was there, whether it was a flash of light, an orb, or which could be both, or that cloak looking thing that we spotted in the video. Mark's got some pictures. The same thing happened to him. Some people saw it, saw whatever was there. That these digital cameras can pick up and see what we can't see. And so this show was not about Bigfoot. It was about nature and light. The more I studied, the more I figured out my experience was many other things than a Bigfoot. So my brain is gone now. Yeah. I told somebody the other night I went on a show and they said, "How'd you get into this? Why'd you get into this?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I started a show because I wanted to learn. I had so many questions and I was in control of the questions and it was great." I said, "Now I'm sitting here in front of y'all. I'm more confused now than I was before, but there's things coming together." I've heard people, we've theorized, I hate to even say that because I'm not educated, y'all. I only had a little bit of college. Algebra killed me. You start adding, I can do math in my head. We had a store for 28 years. We had grew up in the store before that. I was 7 years old and I was marking stuff. Daddy taught me how to, figure percentages and all that, business math or whatever when I was young. And I can get by. But when you start talking about these calculations, the algebra and these rules, and you have to do this or that to figure that, I'm like, look, just cut to the chase. I'm not doing none of that. So, uh, look, Blazer, you're right. Blazer, you own it. um, I'm gonna tell you, Don Odom. I ain't gonna say I thought he was crazy. I mean, I've known him all my life, and he's tried to tell me some of this stuff for decades, and I just wasn't ready. And I'll tell him that's what kind of relationship we have. I was like, "Don, shut up. I can't handle no more." And he'll laugh and he's all right. We'll continue this later. He knows how I am, but he knows when I'm ready, I'll dig. We had a 2.5 hour conversation today, but it was a cool. Just we didn't talk about it but much. I was talking about the light and all that. So anyway, yeah. Um, and here's why. Here's why I like this. I'm sorry to get serious on y'all tonight, but oh man, last night I wanted to go live so bad, but I had to roll it. Had to roll it around in my head all day. So I probably forgot what I was about to say. Um, a lot of this stuff okay, this is what I was going to say. A year ago, when I, we had something happen in 2020 that reintroduced me into the weirdness. Y'all heard that story with the rock throwing Siri, um, you know, triggering without me saying anything, all that stuff. It was 2020 hunting, just a few weeks before hunting season. Then I started seeing, what do you mean? There's a woo group and flesh and blood only, and then there's this group and that group. Oh yeah, man, the Bigfoot world is there's all these different groups, and man, they get vicious and blah blah blah. And I'm like, well, I'm open minded. I'm not going to allow anyone to tell me how to think, though. Because if once I told my son years ago, the second you think you know it all, the second you quit listening, that's as good as you're ever going to get. That's okay. It's okay to get to that point, but you got to realize it. That's as good as you'll ever get. So you keep an open mind. And there's some people say some stuff that don't sit well with me, maybe a little bit, but you won't see a reaction from me. I'll poker face it, and it may be something ridiculous, but y'all see me do this right here, and I'll say TKB said Bigfoot likes mellow yellow. I mean, I make notes, and since I started this, I've got a notebook for each show, comments, all different type comments. But what I'm starting to learn, that some of this stuff I thought was out there happens in nature with other creatures, animals. Oh, that's a good way to come in. Well, I think he's more of a Pepsi guy, but I don't know. But I feel like I'm boring y'all, but we're holding steady on the watchers. Now y'all may have turned the volume down. But here's you'll go, y'all see me in other chats and other shows. I do that to hear other. I can only do so many shows. I can only have so many guests. If you fly through them, you run out. If you do long shows with them, you'll run out. I'm trying to, with my guests, some of you may wonder why I haven't asked you yet. I said before, I've got a plan. I'm layering this stuff up. And I'm trying to include everything. So, yeah, I mean, when I was, for the new people, I was introduced to this subject, I thought by accident, but I don't know. And now I feel like over my 53 years, I've been shown things, and I've been shown things in order that my brain can handle. Because if everything I have experienced would happen in 3 months, I would probably be locked away somewhere. And when I first started, there was nobody to turn to, and you have to be careful who you turn to. But I think a lot of us, I'm not speaking for everybody, I think a lot of us turned to YouTube. I think a lot of us did. Hold on. That's a yes. Yeah. I mean, there's, yeah. So I didn't know how to search certain things or whatever, you know, and then as we started on the internet, you know, you learn how to do search words, um and even as at having a show, you think about what will people search. And I don't like to be overly dramatic, but I have tested some videos with some certain words, and it does work, um, because people are out there getting on for the first time, and they'll hear a story, and they'll type in, "Has a hunter ever been killed by Bigfoot?" So if you've got a Bigfoot hunter kills mountain lion or something with those keywords, you know, y'all know. But so when you're first starting, I think my first, I don't know exactly what it was, but I know close what it was. It was, have there ever been, or like, are there reports or Tennessee and Bigfoot or something like that years ago? And I think Scott Carpenter popped up. I never met him, but the fact that he was out there doing research was like, oh, wait a minute here. Um, there are people that get out here and look for these things. Is he crazy? Yeah. Well, y'all, without getting into TKB, hey, Mark, thank you. Appreciate it. Um, I think because the fact, it's been swept under the rug for so long, it probably has to do with money. Um, you know, we said we know how much money is spent on shooting sports, water sports, camping, uh, people visiting these national parks. Just think of anything that has to do with outside that people make money off of. Cabela's, what do they bring in a year? They have everything from, you know, you can make deer jerky. They have the dehydrators. They have the cookware. They have the spices. They have the clothes and all the guns, ammo, and everything in between. And if it comes out that these things are real, and Greg, to your point, how many there are, um, all that money will quit being spent. Let's say it drops 50%, it's billions and billions of dollars. Um, so same way with the theories of the logging companies killing them because of that. All right, let's see here. How about portals and different frequencies or time realms, elevated or faster, that can be seen without being in spirit form? Well, I was looking up the orbs, and I was studying that a little bit, and then that started me down. It's not a rabbit hole because it's not in nature, and I'm going to continue this, but I don't know enough right now. But with the gamma rays, and I got to thinking, well, what if, you know, gamma rays is one of the most powerful rays, and if two stars collide, the amount of energy that produces is incredible. It's just the numbers are just off the chart. But what if we have little, you know, maybe not gamma rays, but little explosions of light, orbs, um, and another thing with the light, and we keep coming back to the light spectrums. So, you know, I have this on a couple of ghost shows or whatever, and I do realize that when you do so many videos, things get lost. And some of you have probably heard this before, but I think it was Don and I were just contemplating we found out. When I found out, he already knew. When I found out about the light spectrum and what we don't see versus what we do see, So my son-in-law is sensitive to, spirits and ghosts and all this stuff, feelings. Like I have feelings. Like I can sense, and I used to wouldn't talk about this. If I walk into your house and there's something there, it won't sit well with me. I'll be leaving. Katie G, playing off what Greg just said, and look, yes, I mean it could be. Don asked me that today. He said maybe we shouldn't be asking what we can learn about them, but what we can learn from them. Exactly right. So with the light spectrum, which of course the butterfly blew me away because it occurs in nature, and I'll be looking to see if anything else occurs in nature also. But because I'm not sure how octopus or octopi and and chameleons do what they do. I don't know if it's pigment or what. So I'll check into that. Um, but with back to the light. Okay, so what if we got David Blalock? He's sitting over here. Abby's sitting over there. TKB across the room. Greg's over here. We're talking. Greg has an ability he doesn't know why he sees things sometimes, but maybe we're all wired to see here. This is just spitballing, y'all. What if Greg had something happen to him, a near death experience or an injury or something, and he can see in a light spectrum way over here? Now, there's not much of it around, but what if I can't believe I'm using these words. What if one dimension, a portal, or let's say a spirit is can manipulate or travel to that light, that type of light, that in that spectrum? Well, it senses Greg can see it. So it reveals itself to Greg because Greg can see in that light spectrum and none of us can. Greg jumps up, grabs a 45, and starts shooting a hole in the wall because there's a ghost standing there. Well, to the other bunch of us, Greg's nuts, right? But just a simple fact that it's science that we see in this certain gap here and can't see all this outside of it. This is, I think, these like your cameras are picking up orbs and these little, um, what are those things called? They look like little spirals. You can't see those, but your digital camera is capable of seeing those. Um, because I made a comment on woodwalkers months ago, and I didn't know where it come from. It just popped out. But I've been thinking about this, and if I can't touch this mic and I can't see it, and it doesn't exist. But there are things that are like that. They do exist. I just can't see them. So in my reality, it's not there. I can't. I get two rods. Thank you, David. I can see that. There was a night vision they pulled because soldiers were shooting all kinds of stuff. Well, there you go. Um, maybe it's showing stuff that's there, right? That's what you're getting at. Thank y'all. I appreciate that. You know, this. So I'm sorry. This was going to be just a fun ghost story, and it turned into this. I won't say rabbit hole. Maybe it is. Maybe it is part of a rabbit hole that I got thrown into yesterday, but I don't think it was by accident. Um, did I accidentally look up at the right time and see that documentary? I don't know. Um, Last night, about 3 hours after, I almost was wishing I hadn't seen it. But after I got, here's the way I work, y'all. I've always done this. If I've got ideas in my head, it will drive me crazy. The way that I stop it is I write down. I don't have to write down the whole thing. I can write down keywords. And once I get it down and I'm satisfied that I can come back to that and continue this thought process conversation in my head, I'm good. It leaves. I can go to sleep. So that's what I had to do yesterday. I was taking a shower before bed and brushing my teeth, and I come running out of the bathroom, picked up an ink pen, and was writing on an envelope, threw the ink pen down, run back in the bathroom, shut the door. And Heather was looking at me like, what are you doing? But, all right, so, oh man, y'all are on it. Tell you this, it's been a good many years with people called schizophrenics. I've experienced some unbelievable things, and I've no doubt they experience things we don't. I saw a doctor sometime this past week while I've been snowed in. I heard somebody make a comment that, and let me back up. Let's not say doctor. I heard somebody make a comment that some of these people that were schizophrenics may be telling us the truth, And they've done some horrible stuff to people because they didn't fit in, or they scared people, and that's why a lot of us shut up. David, I'm sorry about your mom, David, but that's incredible, and a lot of us have those stories. My grandmother, on my dad's side, she was sick for a long time. She passed away in the late 80s, and she was just there in the bed, wasting away, wouldn't talk to anybody, couldn't talk to anybody. My mom was there in the hospital, and she came to, and she looked up in the corner, and she started smiling, and my mom's like, Mabel, what are you smiling at? And she didn't even think she'd answer because she hadn't talked in weeks and weeks. Mabel, what are you smiling at? She said, you don't see him? He's beautiful. And my mom's like, I don't see anything. What are you looking at? She said, the angel. Right there, he's right there. Look at him. I'm getting goosebumps. And she got better for a little while and talked to some people. Not long, but way more she had in 6 or 8 weeks. And she was better, and she talked, and I think she ate a little bit, and she died that night. She passed away in her sleep. So, yeah, and yeah, people say, well, why have you held it in this long? You're right, 50 years before I ever told anyone. Hey, well, people don't realize you couldn't tell anybody. I like this. They're absolutely telling you the truth, their truth. That's right. Like I said earlier, you tell me a story, I wasn't there. But, well, yeah, Blazer, maybe they were crazy. They just see more than we do. Well, it would drive me nuts. I wouldn't want no part of that. I had stuff started happening, and it got to be a lot. And one of my scariest things that ever happened to me was when I had that about 20 seconds of deja vu. I had dreamed it a couple weeks before. And I'll make it quick. I was in the dream. I was in my uncle's bathroom and had a pink razor in my hand, and this goofy look on my face like, what? My cousin was standing beside me in this bathroom. I woke up, and my first thought was, what circumstances would put me in my uncle's bathroom that we never hardly went to be shaving with a pink razor? Well, I found out. My mom and dad got invited on a trip. It was last minute. They went to the Bahamas. They got it was free for them to go. The airline was free, and one of my, I think it was one of my uncle's business contacts had given him 4 of everything, and well, in the hotel and all that. So they went down there, and I was working at the sheriff's department. I was really young, and you couldn't even have this. Um, I don't think. I think we had to be clean shaven at the time. And so they were like, "All right, you're the oldest one. You're going to stay and watch everybody, and then go to work." I worked at night, 12 hours. So, will you do that for us? Yeah, I'll do it. And so we stayed there. Didn't think anything about it. And I forgot my razor. And I'm looking. We're going through, and Stephanie was like, "Here you go. This is a brand new one here," and took the thing off of it. Got everything going. I looked up in the mirror, and there it was. I was standing in my uncle's bathroom with a pink razor with this goofy look on my face because I was scared. I was like, "What the crap?" She's standing there. Well, this is how I'll tell the story, and if she's there, she'll confirm it. She was standing beside me and she was talking. I said, "Hold on, hold on." My sister Rachel and her brother Mikey were younger. I said, "Listen, Rachel and Mikey's about to come out of that back bedroom. They're going to be arguing. They're going to be arguing about this. She's going to say this. He's going to say this. They're going to be mad. They're going to go through that door, and one of them's going to knock something accidentally off the table, and it's going to hit in the floor in the kitchen, and it's going to be loud." I said it really fast, and she's looking at me like, "What the crap's wrong with you?" And here they come. They come right out of there. They said exactly what I said they were going to say. They did exactly what I said I was going to do, and they knocked something off. And she looked at me, and she said, "How in the world?" And I was just, "I don't know. I don't know." And what scared me was our parents were in the air coming back at that point, and I'm like, "Oh my God, is this is this something? Let me know something bad's about to happen?" Or I didn't know. I still don't know. But I'd been getting, the 1 or 2 seconds or the split second of deja vu all my life. And at that point, I said, "This is getting to be too much." And I prayed about it and I asked God to take it away from me because I didn't want any part of it. But anyway, so I'm sorry, y'all. I hadn't been reading. Um, y'all are funny. Yeah, I keep hearing this word veil. I keep hearing this word energy. I keep hearing a lot of this stuff. Um, yeah, Greg. I knew Greg had said this. Had those moments all his life. Now mine, mine had always been acceptable. Like, did I hear that before? Did I see that? Did I see that person drop that before? And you kind of know you did because it's so familiar. But that long one, it scared the crap out of me, y'all. I was so happy to get that call at the airport that they'd made it safely. Um, but I don't know where this is leading. I do know some of the things I've experienced that people would call me crazy. Um, it's been an education process, um, and I've told you I'm doing this to learn, and it will go. I'll go a little while, and I won't really learn anything. But going to these other shows, messing with y'all in chat, being goofy, and you was having fun with it, I'm listening, and there's words that keep coming up, and the people, and I understand all sides. I'm self prescribed, y'all. I'm not right brain or left brain. I'm right dead in the center. I can do a little bit of everything, and I'm not great at anything. Um, it helps me. Like if y'all were arguing, I could see, that both of you probably right. It's kind of tough sometimes, but just y'all keep. I know y'all. keep an open mind. If somebody says something you don't agree with, just write it down and save it. It may come back to be something important. Whew, blue eye. That's ugh. You gonna have to tell me about that when you're on. We can talk about a lot of that stuff because I said a long time ago, without knowing, I believe in my heart that a lot of this stuff is connected. And TKB said something earlier about we're all. It feels like something big is about to happen. Just without getting too deep, I've had a feeling that what we're doing, coming together, meeting each other, and helping each other, and that maybe this sounds crazy, but maybe when whatever happens, maybe we're the one that's going to have to help everybody understand it, right? I think. All right, y'all. How long I've been on here? I was going to go on for 15 minutes. Oh, I'm tired. So y'all, thanks for listening, and I'm glad I got that off my. Now I've got it out here where y'all can go back and watch it and whatever, and I can go. More importantly, I can go back and watch it. And what I'll do with the Chapel Hill Light story, I may not immediately, but I may do that on a tape a little me telling that and put it out there for people to search, and because that's a cool story. And the what was wild about that story, at that point that I saw that, there were two things in my life that I had seen that reminded me of it, and one was the transformer blue and the ball lightning came out, and that color and that intense color and that brightness, and then the UFO that I saw, smooth as glass, almost like, and then it left straight up. It moved like this thing, but the thing was moving like that because of magnetic pull. It looked like. So I've always thought. Here's my pea brain. I've always thought that these UFOs, the one I saw, the way it was shaped, where it flat on top with a little bit of a hump there, but different levels here, curves. So if it's shaped like that, and there's some kind of magnetic pull push mechanism, because it was orange, hot orange color, but I could see the edges. So like some kind of friction was going on. Well, if it had magnetic abilities, then it wouldn't need fuel. It could use, have something, whatever, where it could change the. So look, if it's shaped like this and it's flat, it's sitting there just like this level, and it put a little positive, negative English on it and leaned it forward just a little bit, it would glide, right? And if I wanted to stop, I just change that positive, negative just a little bit, and I'll level it up, and it would probably scoot. If I wanted to stop, I tilt it like this. Now, if I wanted to leave and go straight up like it did, I throw the juice to it, the push away from the Earth's magnetic whatever, boom, it's gone. It goes through space. Once it gets out with no drag on it, it can go forever. And then it could, it could get its coordinates lined up to a planet, knowing how far it can travel, and it could use that planet, turn it on here, and bounce off of the magnetic push or pull off of that, and you could travel because there's no drag out there, the way I understand it. But anyway, that's just my, I'm not. Glad to find out I'm not alone in what's considered being weird. My whole family does things that other folks give a serious side. Yeah, that might be about to change. Oh, if y'all talking about cramps, pickle juice. Pickle juice. I saw somebody in chat say, "Now pickle juice works. I mean, it works. Take a couple slugs of it, and it works fast." One lady in the chat says she kept it under her bed. I don't remember who it was. Um, Mustard works also. We're gonna do that. And there's man, yeah. And see, that's all. And the suggestions for other shows is awesome because we need that. you know. All right, y'all. I gotta go. It's cold outside. I'm tired. I got cabin fever, but I can't. I might be able to get out tomorrow. I was looking at it. If the sun comes out, but it's supposed to be below freezing for the next couple of days. So y'all have a good night. Um, and be on the lookout. I've got well, this is a good one to do because I got Miss Robin Haynes coming on next Tuesday night, and we're going to discuss energy, Bigfoot and energy, and all this. Uh, Not the Bigfoot experience and all that's cool, but I want to hear those. But I kind of want to hear the why also or the how. So y'all stay warm. I appreciate you hanging in there and letting me have my therapy. um, yeah, Miss Robin is pretty cool. I met her co-hosting on another show, and she blew me away. All right, y'all go get some sleep. David, shut up. Inside joke between us. Go get some of that fight ball. Y'all have a good night. Thank y'all.